Hey guys, this is Irene with another 90 Day Fiance recap chat here. Faith, Love, and Trent, CBiz Media. 90 Day Fiance fans, you guys know that 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples, one person from the U.S., the other from another country. There's language barriers, cultural boundaries, all sorts of messiness, and they only have 90 days in order to get married so they could get that visa. Some people's intentions are pure, some are not. The goal is marriage. Doesn't always work out. Alright guys, let's get into this episode. This is one of the spin-offs of 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. And we're going to start with Emma meeting her ex, Muhammad. Now, everything went bad with her meeting with Zayed. They're more than a meeting. They were there with each other for some days. And he even ended up sleeping with her, which was supposed to be against his religious beliefs. She thought she was going to get a proposal. He finds out that she did have an ex, Muhammad, from the same country, and they were, and that was her fiance. So he wasn't happy with that lie and her back and forth with that relationship. In a way, she was playing both sides, playing with Muhammad and keeping her options open for Zayed because things went weird with Muhammad. So Zayed, he literally left her in the desert. Just a quick recap if you guys haven't been following. So she says this is a weird turn of events. For some reason, her ex Muhammad has now reached out to her again. They've had years of history together. They were, of course, engaged. And they're supposed to be meeting, I assume, at a coffee shop or restaurant in Casablanca. Who doesn't want to go to Casablanca? Doesn't it sound beautiful? Anyway, she makes this long trip, and as she gets closer to the area, things feel familiar. She's getting butterflies. She's thinking of the love that they had and the fact that he, wants to meet with her as a potential possibility. They may restart their relationship. So she's waiting for him. The waiter keeps coming up to her, asking her, does she want anything? And she's like, no, I'll wait for my friend. She waits. Oh, it's a bad sign. Looks like you've been stood up, my friend. So she's like, you know what? I see he's online. I'm going to try to call him. And for my first thought was maybe he just doesn't want to be on TV. Maybe that's the part he's not in for. But he ends up texting back, hey, I have a fiance. So the full text is like, basically, leave me alone. I don't want to see you anymore. I have a fiance. So she's like, why did he do this? Why did he put her through this if he had a fiance and agree to meet with her and just throw her under the bus? I don't know if it's some type of payback he was getting or what. Why was he playing with her that way? I think it's kind of funny, actually. I don't know everything that happened in their relationship, but I know she's shown us that she could be a bit messy herself. So maybe this was a bit of payback for all the ups and downs that they may have had in their relationship. I don't know everything that went between her and Muhammad. Never seen him on camera, but when she realizes what's going on, she says she's done. She storms off. Basically, he wasted her time. She says she deserves better from these men, Zayed and Muhammad. She says that she doesn't know his new fiance may probably be going bankrupt like she did because she was giving him gifts and all of these things. Was he asking for it? I don't know. But she's saying the new fiance is probably getting used and going bankrupt like she did. She says, I wasn't meant to find love here. She takes off the ring from Muhammad that she's been holding on to, the engagement ring, and throws it out in the water and declares she'll find love somehow, somewhere else. All right, Emma, I have to say that I didn't hate you and I didn't think you were completely a messed up person, but you had some issues that maybe we will tap into a little bit deeper in the future. But because I kind of want to break down some of these things when it comes to meeting Muslim guys. They are trying to be modest. They're not supposed to sleep with anyone before marriage. This happened with another spinoff of 90 Day as well. The person did sleep with their American girlfriend and they went against their religion as well. I kind of want to break down that, but also, Emma is tempting these men. I'm sure that she probably slept with Muhammad too. And she thinks that she's going to get a proposal because she slept with the guy. Is this like a thing where she feels like she knows she could get married to these guys because they're supposed to wait for marriage? And if you sleep with them, then you open the door to proposal and you must get proposed. Like, what is her mindset when it comes to meeting these Muslim guys that don't have the same standards, don't have the same mindset, and don't have the same culture as her? But she's going to try to force her way in anyway. And that's the vibe that I got from Emma. And I do kind of feel like, in a way, she kind of deserves what she got. She tried to take the lead in these relationships and take control when it's really the man's job to take control, especially if he wants you, he wants you. If he doesn't, you walk away. That's your choice. When a man shows you what he wants or he doesn't want, then it's up to you to make that decision to walk away. But let the man take the lead. Don't try to force your way into something that is not yours. And they're going to take advantage of what they can get out of it, even if they don't want you in the end. Lesson learned, I hope, Emma. But I'm sure there's going to be more to come as the season concludes. I don't really think there's much more we can do with Emma. I don't think so. All right, let's go to Aviva and Stig. So now she's out snorkeling. He calls her his little mermaid. Why is he sitting on the sidelines and not snorkeling with her? Whatever the case, she's happy that they're having alone time together. I'm like, maybe the dude don't swim. Maybe he don't like the water. I don't know, but it was kind of weird to see that he was watching her swim and snorkel. And she went under, and it was like a bunch of big grassy looking stuff. No beautiful fish or wildlife under there. Now, I don't know what type of area he took her to snorkel, but he called her his little mermaid. Basically, we can kind of recap a bit that Stig, it looked like he had some side women going on, some side things going on, and Aviva's aunt Spring kind of pulled that information out, but she believes Stig as him saying that, he's not really doing those things. This is not true. This information is not true. It's hearsay. So she says she's on his side and she's going to believe him at this point. Aunt Spring left, so she's like, well, she thanks him for getting through this whole scenario with her, and things have been rough with all those rumors and whatnot. So things are on the up and up at this point. So she says she knows it's going to be hard to be his wife or his girlfriend, but she's willing to try to work for it and make it happen with him. For him. He says he's grateful that she came here and stayed by his side, and he declares he loves her, and she's happy that he actually said he loved her for the first time. And she says, I love you too. They kiss, and this is what she wanted to hear the whole time. She's wondering if she's closer to a proposal, though, because she really wants that proposal like Emma wanted hers. But for me, I think Emma was a serial proposal person where she was trying to set up proposals that multiple times, I don't know. It was only 2 times as far as I know. She seems like she had a history with Muhammad. But let's stick here and stay here with Aviva and Stig. But she wants a proposal too, basically. And so Stig takes her to a romantic getaway. And I'm wondering, if that's up his sleeve somehow. He did say, I know you wanted to hear I love you sooner, but I wanted to wait till the right moment in time. Which makes a lot of sense, but it's not something you should force the I love you situation in words and feelings, and it shouldn't be rushed into. But you guys are rushing to a lot of other things. I don't understand why people rush into the bedroom and all these things, but they can't say I love you first. So it's like, why do you guys rush into everything else except the love? I think you should do the love first and then the other things. That's my personal opinion and my thoughts. So he takes her to this resort in Saint Ignacio, I believe, in Belize. I hope I said that right. There's rose petals and hearts on the bed. First they go to this Mayan history resort and a cooking class. And we learn a little history of that area. And they had corn instead of wheat, so they would use corn to make bread or masa. So they were, the lady that was teaching them, she was showing them how they take the rock and I think it's called a pestle, something like that, and just grind the corn up. And so she started it, and then the lady left to get some more ingredients. So then they start trying to recreate this ghost moment with the stone and the pestle he got behind her and was trying to grind the corn with her. And literally, it became a little nasty. And the lady that was still around in that area across the way was looking at them like, you guys are kind of nasty. I don't really want to see this, right? She kind of had a look on her face like, this is inappropriate. Anyway, that didn't stop them. They were like, hey, this is kind of hot. So they finished the tortillas. And the lady shows them how to put it in the pan, cook it, and all that. And then they taste it. It's like, oh, this is pretty good. They were having a good time doing this. They didn't make any babies, hopefully, at this time. But they probably made some previously, because that's going to come up in a moment. So after they did the tortillas, the lady comes out with a full meal. It looks delicious. She was like, oh, I'm hungry. This tastes good. And he's like, oh, are you having some pregnancy cravings? So he's already suspecting, because they did those things without protection. But he started asking her, did your period come? And she's like, my period's somewhat irregular, but it usually comes around this time. And I know we started using protection later on, but in the beginning, we weren't using any. Her period is not here. So they discussed, she said they actually discussed before she got there that they may make a baby. Why would you make a baby with someone you haven't met yet? Hey, let's make a baby on our first trip meeting each other. I mean, you could build the bond online, but to that degree, I wouldn't plan making a baby with somebody when I first meet them. That's weird. Even it's not the first day, I'm only there a couple weeks, even if I'm only there a month, I wouldn't put that in my plan book, right away. That's just kind of too much, I think. But so it's like he's open to the possibility. They both are. They kind of planned that this could happen. And they discussed it. So he said, he would be excited for it. And she said if it happened, they would figure it out. They could make it work. So she's like, well, let's get a test on our way back. So they're going to find out if they are with child. All right, that's going to be an interesting, exciting thing. There's been speculation. People have showed pictures of her earlier on in the season saying, is she already pregnant? So I wouldn't be surprised if she was. Rick and Trisha, we see a bit with them. They wake up in the bunk beds at Trisha's family's village. She asked him, did he sleep well? And he said, yeah, I could kind of tell he wasn't sleeping that well. And he hit her bunk bed and the dust from the bunk bed got in his eye. You shouldn't have hit the bunk bed anyway. So he runs out to the shower in front of the girls with his towel on. And Trisha's like, make sure your towel doesn't fall off. We don't want any scenes here. You have to pour that water on yourself. The water's cold and he's freaking out every time he pours it on. And the girls see him, cause your head is sticking out of this little shower that they have. And then he's outside showering. So everybody sees him. The two girls that are sitting there nearby, I guess in front of their front door. And of course, Trisha, they're all looking at him take a shower, laughing as he screams and pours his cold water on them. Talk about a public shower. This is wild. As far as Trisha's family, they're not happy about his indecisiveness when it comes to the kids. So previously, I saw some bits and pieces of the show, and I did see actually the Pillow Talk version, which doesn't show everything. So I didn't realize they got fully in this conversation, and that basically they know he's indecisive when it comes to kids. He hopes that they see his potential, and so now that he's done with his shower, they're doing something with the cassava leaves, and he hates the cassava leaves. It tastes bitter to him, but it looks like that's what you're having for breakfast, sir. So have fun with that. So he's going to be helping them, I guess, pull apart the leaves. That's going to be your breakfast. Dad pulls her aside in that moment, basically says, hey, Trisha, I don't think this guy is really serious. I mean, if you guys get married, it sounds like it's just going to be for fun. Where's the seriousness in this relationship? He's saying another talk is needed. And she says, well, I really love this man. What do I do? Do I have to choose between you in my family or Rick? And he said, well, we could try to find some type of middle ground. She says she doesn't want to lose him, but she will break up with him for her family's sake. But I don't think it's just for her family's sake. I also think it's for the fact that she wants a family. She wants kids of her own too. So she will break up with him if they're not on the same page, which makes a lot of sense. Rick is trying to force something that he can't force. And many of us do that. We get all intimate with each other, do all the things. Then we see that we're not compatible. Then it's hard to break us apart because we've already built so many bonds. When in the beginning, you should have found out whether you were compatible, whether you were on the same page or not. So, are they wasting each other's time? Is he wasting this young lady's time? She's got more time. Maybe not as much as a man would have in his lifetime for babies and stuff, but she's got more time. He has less. He's basically like twice her age, maybe a little more than that. So, Rick, you need to step back and let her live her life and be the woman that she wants to be, have the family that she wants, if you're not going to be that guy and if you're not going to provide that. That's my thoughts. All right, let's get into Elise and Joshua. Elise wakes up. Where's Joshua? The place is a mess. She's like, I live in this frat house. She's such a drama queen. She's very dramatic. She said last night we got into it, the issues with Natalie and everything. And it's just like, she's freaking out. She wants to know where Josh is. Is he at Natalie's? She's really losing it. She's crying. She's saying, am I alone here? I'm saying you did a lot with this guy early on. I guess they did sleep together. I don't know if I missed something, guys. Let me know that they were intimate with each other. You've done all these things with this guy. Why didn't you learn more information? Like, we always jump in as soon as we meet the person. I know you guys have been talking online for some time, but that's not the same as being face to face and seeing who a person really is. Anyway, he starts to come in as she's crying and struggling about last night. Where's Josh? There's a text that he sent where he said something about, she said something about, are you with Natalie? He joked saying, basically kind of saying he was, though I'm not sure if he was or not. I think he said it was a joke, but we'll hear more in a moment about that. So he left as he saw her crying. So she goes out, confronts, like, why did you leave? He's like, well, I thought you needed your space. And she was like, well, where were you? He said he had to work and all of this. Why are you crying? What's the situation? And she says, I don't really think this was about a job. That's not why you left. He said he panicked, really, and he thought she needed some space. She was upset again about the text that they exchanged about Natalie. And to me, honestly, I would be at Natalie's if all my stuff was there. Like, I'm just saying, can I get my stuff? Because obviously he lives over there, so he probably has half of his stuff or more over there. He's only using that house as a house to hang out with you at temporarily. So he's like, no, honey, let's put this all back to the back of our mind. Let's go to the beach. They kind of make up a little bit and say, it's not like that. Let's have fun. Let's go on the beach. So they're going on the beach and taking a surf lesson, taking the mind off the issues. He's sexy out there on that surfboard. He knows what he's doing. And she's a hot mess. It's true. She kept falling off the surfboard. It was quite entertaining. I was okay with it. Okay, Elise, you're not perfect. Who is? They go to a fish place, even though she said she doesn't like fish. But I guess they have other food there. They have a good time, a fun time. They're now out. Looks like they're out on the beach eating this huge sandwich that she's trying to bite into. And they kind of share the sandwiches, they cross arms. You know how you do with the drink, and you give the other person your drink and they drink yours. It's kind of what they did with the sandwiches. So she got a mess all over her face. It's like, my mouth's not big enough to eat this. He's like, your mouth is big. Well, she is loud. I'll just say that much, because I don't want to get into any of these other exploits that men may get into. So then he licks the food off of her face, the mess off her face. It was just kind of disgusting to me. I don't think that's hot. I mean, please don't lick food off my face. And you have food in your mouth too. I'm sorry, the things that people do are into. He's like, well, I hope you could stay longer. She's like, well, I'll be here for a little while longer. He's like, well, I wish you would be here for longer than this. And then she starts kind of talking about, there's some things I would like to talk about, like your life is not really stable as it should be. And then he talked about his son moving, and that kind of caused him to spiral out. She brings up her bad ex situation and his issues, and saying, well, what if you take advantage of me like that? So they start fighting. She's like, are you going to use me? So that doesn't go well. So there's another issue. So it seems like they're on fight mode at this time. One fight to the next. A little sandwich, a little surfing in between, and back to the fight. Now, Chris and Josh, I think it's the next day, they continue their bromance here. They go talk and work out. He tells his friend what happened between them. They slept in different rooms. She said they didn't sleep together. They didn't speak. So that tells me that they probably slept together before. She shares her engagement story about she was happy with her partner. They were engaged, but he ended up passing away, and it broke her. She has trust issues now. And she doesn't know what she wants to do next. It's just not easy for her with relationships. So she FaceTimes her parents and tells them everything going on with this guy. And the parents advocate for him. Actually, they said, slow down, learn more about the situation, this woman that he's living with and all that. You don't have to judge everything so harshly. And I was shocked by the parents doing that. And then also when it comes to Josh talking to Chris, I feel like, he says she's jealous of the Nat situation. Yeah, I would be jealous too. It's nothing weird about that. And you're living with this woman rent free. And he's just to me, Josh is super sensitive. And he just needs to be a little bit more tough skinned. I need someone a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger and more resilient. She says, I don't know him 100%. That's what she tells her parents. Yeah, but your body knows him 100%, but you still don't know the guy 100%. Then why did you get to know his body 100%? I don't know. Maybe I'm judgy on these situations, but we're at a standstill. But the parents are trying to make sure that she knows all the facts and just doesn't throw this guy away. And they say she always focuses on the negative, so hopefully not in this case. Hopefully she gives him another chance. I don't know what to make of it. All right, so Lisa and Daniel, the whole situation with now everything's out, and she's revealed that she was married to a woman last 21 years, has been with women, and in his belief system, it's an abomination. So he still wants to be with her. So they're going to speak to the uncle. At this point, he's making it look like, hey, we can't do anything and go forward at all till we speak to my uncle. But at least the fact that he's opened the door to do that means he obviously still wants to be with her. Otherwise, he could have just break up with her right now. We don't need to speak with uncle at all if he was done. So he's obviously not done. They're going to speak to the uncle, and she's trying to mend the lies or whatever. And for him, this Daniel says all are sinners and can ask for forgiveness, to see how he's just ready to forgive her again. She promised she wouldn't do this anymore, and she's losing it. They're both kind of scared of the uncle and what he's going to say. He tells uncle that she lied. She had not just 2 divorces, but 5. And for the last 21 years, she's been with women. Uncle gets on her about being with her fellow woman is abomination. She says, I'll do whatever it takes. She's whimpering and crying. Uncle said he can't believe her, and the marriage is over. She's hyperventilating. She's losing it. Uncle is angry of her deception. He says her tears make him even more angry. It's another offense against him. Pretending for sympathy is what he feels she's doing. He says he's withdrawing his approval and blessing. He's like, this is crocodile tears. Uncle, I totally agree. Daniel still wants to marry her, though. Daniel's the one that's still holding on and pushing this. She's like, this is my past. I'm not living that life anymore. He said, you're telling me that now, but tomorrow might be another story because you told me one thing in the beginning. Now you're telling me something else now. And she says, so I'm done lying and withholding truths. I promise. She begs for forgiveness, gets on her knees. He says, hey, I'm not God. I can't directly forgive you like this. And Dan's like, but I love her with all my heart. Can we try to solve this, uncle, please? He's begging for help. And he's like, well, you need to go to the elders because I'm not qualified to take on such situations like this. And I can't straight up forgive you. And honestly, Uncle's right. God would directly have to forgive you. And going through all of these people is a protocol. But it does kind of put a sense of accountability to have to go through all of these people to get approval. Because I'm like, if everybody had to do all this to get married and get approval from all these people and all of this, I know some people would straight up bold-faced lie until they got married and got what they wanted. Then you'll see the truth. At least she's telling the truth before. But, if you have to go through all these steps and you have to go before God, and people really took this seriously, because when people go before God at a wedding, I don't think people take it as serious. But they're doing all these protocols before the wedding, getting all these blessings, and now that new information is found out, they have to go to the elders, the chief priests. I mean, it's a lot of people they got to go through to get this approval, not just the two of them. And then, of course, you got to go to God. So it's a lot, and I think it's worth it. If you really are serious about a relationship, you love somebody, you want to be with them, this is really testing that. And a lot of people probably wouldn't pass this test and would be done a lot sooner. If I was Daniel, though, I would not be begging for her. I would just have to say goodbye. But maybe this is the best relationship he's had. Maybe this is the best he's ever been treated. I don't know if he really love her like that, or he love what she's done for him or how she treats him. I think that's probably more what he loves. So Uncle says, I will talk to the elders for you, because they have to go through him. He has to go talk to the elders for them to see if they can go to the elders, and then the elders will take it from there. So that was a crazy moment, and that was wild. I loved that moment. I loved the part where he's like, I'm not God. She's getting on her knees in front of him. He's like, no, I'm not God. I can't straight up forgive you. But I think you should go to God. And then you also should, in scenarios where you've lied or whatever the scenario is, you have to prove yourself. You have to prove yourself with your actions, because you can say that all day. I think even having some time apart from that person, because sometimes people do stuff for people and in front of people, but once that person is not around, they do what they want. It'll really prove it if you could do it on your own because you want to do it, not because you have to do it to be with this person. That at the end of the day, that's what you really have to show, that this is something you want to do and not that you're being forced to do it, because in that way it can be temporary. So I wouldn't trust it until that person shows me that they really want to change and they really want to do things the right way. But, the saga continues with Daniel and Lisa. They're going to be going throughout the whole country, getting all these blessings, getting all these permissions. And finally, really, she just needs to go before God. I feel like that's a one-on-one thing that she needs to do without Daniel being there, because it's supposed to be a one-on-one relationship and choice and not something that you're forced to be into. And I know that people get married and they convert to get married and all of that, but still it's supposed to be that person's choice, and they shouldn't just solely be doing this just to be in a relationship. All right, so we'll see the saga continue with those guys. All right, let's close with Burkan, Laura, and Michael. They showed the picture. I'm like, you guys look like father, mother, and son here, with Burkan in the middle. I don't know how I feel about this. Anyway, Michael is now giving gifts. Michael came. Burkan wasn't happy about his arrival as he's trying to check out Burkan and see if he's legitimate for Laura. Laura gives him this huge hearty hugs when he comes. I mean, it feels like it's a vibe with them. But he brings her gifts. And between this whole gift giving process, Burkhan has his little angry sarcasm in between. And then he's like, oh, you're so sweet. You know, he kind of mocks the situation. He says that he's her boyfriend. And it's a bit awkward in between there. It's like, well, why didn't you bring any gifts for me, the boyfriend? And I think you have a point, Burkhan, because I feel like that's kind of rude. The way they're acting is like, he's not even in the room. And she's like, Burkhan needs to grow up. But it's like you're kind of ignoring him like he's not even there. So I get how he's insinuating himself in the room, in the situation. He's like, I will not be forgotten here. Oh, so they do a little small talk, you know, but he's mad. And then they do this off and on thing. And he says, well, Lord, I will be, you know, he's being nice, then he's being rude. He's being nice, he's being rude. That's the off and on thing. But he said, finally, he's like, you know, I'll show you around the town if you want, you know. And then he says, starting as a jerk for the boundary situation is his strategy. So he doesn't want to be Mr. Nice Guy like he could be run over. He starts off as a jerk just to let the guy know he can't just step on him. This is his idea. This is his strategy. So, as they go take Michael to his room so he can check in, the guys kind of talk about sports, and on the way there, they stop at his hotel, and Burkhan sits in the middle, of course. He's also in the middle of that picture. He's just trying to make sure that nothing happens between these two. And, you know, as he goes in the hotel, he lets Laura know he keeps his enemies close. And he's playing this tough guy role that she says she doesn't like. And she thinks that Michael won't like it either. She needs everybody to approve of each other. So she doesn't like the fact that he's playing Mr. Tough Guy. They end up hanging out at this cafe. He says, I was a jerk. He doesn't use that word. But he says he apologizes for his behavior. And I'm proud of the kid. He's only 26. Come on. Anyway. So Michael's like, okay, well, I accept your apology, I guess. That's what he said. And he's like, well, let's talk more about that debt situation. Oh, he explains it was because of business trouble and COVID. And he's like $50K still in debt after selling everything off. But he says he knows how to gamble. It's not like he's a fool when it comes to it. He knows the strategies that he can do best. He's not just going to bet his life away. Michael says he really doesn't see how this is going to work, how he's going to live off of gambling. And he then starts talking about you should really marry your best friend. And he's like, well, speaking of that, Burkhan says, why didn't you guys fall in love? And neither of them can have an answer. And he says, I have no answer for that. That's what Michael says. And Laura lets us know there's a kind of more for her to tell about the history of their relationship, but she hasn't told us or Burkhan yet. So Burkhan says, whatever the situation is, I'm going to fight for this relationship. So respect for him on that. So the next day she's like, do you need me to do your laundry? Do you need me to do your laundry, son? No, I mean, boyfriend. It was giving me mother-son vibes when she asked about the laundry. He's like, nope, I took care of my laundry. I don't need you to be my mom. So he's going to hang out with Michael and have a one-on-one. And she's kind of like, you know, I wish I could come. He's like, well, oh, well, yeah, I bet you do. Anyway, we're gone. So he leaves to go meet with Michael. They go play pool, have some house turkey going. He's like, not bad. They have a little guy talk, mostly is talk about Laura. And so he's saying that at first he kind of thought he was a deadbeat and all of this, and because he heard the situation. And so Burkhan turns it over and says, well, when it comes to you guys, you and Laura, you both didn't really have an answer as to why you didn't fall in love. Like, do you really love her? Do you want her? Why don't you go for it? You came all the way here. So he gets into the brass tacks of things. This is what he really wanted to know and kind of confront him. They do it respectfully. It's not like he's going to punch him in the face. But I wouldn't be surprised if he would get to that. But no, it doesn't. He says he doesn't love her. He says that she actually made a move on him and he refused it. And he said it's a long time before she met you. So he's trying to say, this didn't happen recently. And I was like, I said no. He's like, oh, so this is something she never told me. So now I have a problem with her and not a problem with you. I believe you. Thank you for this information. Now I need to go confront Laura because now I don't trust her. So that's the interesting turn of events. Are Michael and Burkhan gonna gang up on Laura? I'm not surprised if she set this up. She loves the smutty novels. She would love two men fighting over her. She showed us earlier that she was kind of into that. And she was glad that Michael was so caring about the situation and was gonna possibly come up there like he was gonna fight for her. So I think she's into that type of scenario. We'll see as this story unfolds. Guys, that's it. We're done with this recap of 90 Day Fiance. Before the 90 days, we'll talk again. Faith, love, and trends. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com if you'd like to chat, or if you want to hear us on our other platforms, check out cbiztvmedia.com. And we will talk again. This is Irene. All the best and God bless.